Hey, thank you very much for coming back to be with me today. This is another quick coaching tip. I just want to share a brief idea with you, 10, 15 minutes at the most, hopefully, depending on how long I wind up chatting. But anyway, now this is a really, really important concept that I want to share with you. But it doesn't take a full 45 minutes to an hour to unpack it. It's something that I just want to yeah, I just want to give it to you so that you can keep it in your mental tool bag, and it's something that you're already aware of. This is not something that I'm going to share with you that is brand new, but it may be something that you have stopped thinking about, or something that you need to be reminded of, that you have this ability within you. So let me ask you this question. I've done it before. Have you ever gone to see a particular movie? At least where I live, there aren't these just standalone movie houses anymore where there's just one theater and they're only showing one movie at a time. There's these big multiplexes where there's, you know, 15, or even we've got one that has 20 movie theaters in it. So at any given point in time, you've got 20 different movies to go see. Have you ever gone to see a movie with the intention of seeing a particular movie, and then once it started, you realize that you just weren't in the mood for it, or if you had kids with you, maybe it just wasn't appropriate, and so you decided that, you know what, I don't have to sit here through this. I bought a ticket. They don't really care what movie I sit in. And you got up, left that particular cinema, and walked down the hall and found another movie to watch, and you went in and watched that movie. Have you ever done that? I've done that on numerous occasions, sometimes by myself, sometimes when I've had my kids with me, and like I just said, when we went to see what was supposed to be a kid-friendly movie, and then very shortly into it, I realized that, either the settings or the situations or the language was just not appropriate for my kids. So we got up, we made the decision to not sit through that, and realize that we can get up and leave that theater and walk around and find a different movie to watch. Again, we bought the ticket, so it's not like the movie theater is missing out on the money. Okay, so we've done this before, and so this is actually an example that I want to bring to you. It's a small section from a book that I'm just about to publish. I'm really excited about it. It's all written. We're in the final editing phases right now, and so the book is hopefully going to be out by the end of April is when I plan for it to be on the streets. Was hoping for April 15th of 2015, but that could still happen, but it's really tight. Anyway, I have a chapter. My book is called Worry No More: 4 Steps to Stop Worrying and Start Living. So many people are just consumed with worry. And some of the things that people are worried about are legitimate things to be concerned about. But the worry that consumes you, that traps you into thinking just about that thing, and projecting some kind of outcome where you think something bad is going to happen to you, and you're living in that to the point where it's very hard for you to function and enjoy life, let alone go through the necessary daily routines of living. That's the kind of worry that this book addresses, and I'm here to help you eradicate that kind of all-consuming worry from your life. Anyway, I've got a chapter in my book that's titled Go Watch a Different Movie. And the reason for this is because I encounter so many people who use the phrase, I just can't stop thinking about whatever, or I can't get such and such, or this person, or this scenario out of my mind. Have you done that? Or I know I have, so I'm preaching to the choir here. I am a recovering worrier. Let me tell you, I have worried about so many things in my life that I wanted to share with you some of the tools that I've learned to apply in my own life to get my life back, to stop being all wrapped up in these all consuming negative thoughts and start living again. And so I've got this chapter called Go Watch a Different Movie. And when I hear people say, I can't, or I always, I want you to be aware of using uh, um, this language that means it's absolute language is what it is, like you never or you always or I can't. And it's so often that we know that we aren't thinking that way, but our language really does reflect what's inside us. So when I encounter somebody who says, I just can't stop thinking about so and so or such and such, um, I walk them through a little practice, and so that's what I want to do. So if I've got somebody on a coaching call with me, and they're either going through a breakup or they're worried about something, and they say, Bruce, help me! I just can't stop thinking about so and so, and so I'll say, all right, let's take a deep breath for a second. We'll get to that in just a minute. But tell me what you did over the weekend. Um, and they'll start telling me what they did over the weekend. Or I say, what did you have for dinner last night? And they'll start telling me what they had for dinner last night. Or what I'll say is, before we get to that, we will address that subject. But um, within the last month, what was the funniest thing that either happened to you or that you saw? Something that made you laugh, or something that made you really happy. It could be a really good thing. And so this person will start telling me about the funniest thing or the happiest thing that happened to them recently. It could be a joke that somebody told, or it could just be one of the things their kids did, or some silly thing that they saw on TV or whatever. And they will recall those things to me with vivid detail. And I'm usually on Skype calls with them, so I'm watching their facial expressions, and so I can see that they're reliving this event. They've got smile on their face, and their voice has changed, and they're actually there again. So they're feeling the feelings, they're seeing it in their mind, they're replaying the movie of that. And so do that right now. So if think about the funniest thing that you've seen recently, or the happiest thing that you've seen. I just I was at the walking around my lake just the other day, and there was this little kid. The mom was there, but they had a puppy, and they were just playing in the grass, and the puppy had knocked maybe the 3-year-old down, and was sitting on top of the kid. It was just licking his face, and it was just a really happy, funny thing to see. So take a second and think about something in your life. Okay, now if you did that, guess what you just did? You stopped thinking about the thing that was worrying you. You just controlled your mind. You can control your thoughts. And so when you say, Bruce, I just can't stop thinking about I lost my job, or how mean somebody was to me, or this relationship that just ended, and you're consumed with that, and you say to me, I can't stop thinking about, and I walk you through this exercise, you can stop thinking about it. And that's what I want you to realize. I want you to realize that you are in control of your thoughts. Your thoughts don't control you unless you decide to let them. If you keep watching the movie in your mind that you don't want to see, then that's your choice. You can get up and go watch a different movie. You can do this. You just did it right now. If you started watching this or listening to me with this movie playing in your head that had you all anxious, and you just visualized something that made you happy, it proves beyond the shadow of a doubt that you can think different thoughts. You just have to do it. I'll give you another example. I was working with a mother who has a young child. The child is I think about 3 years old, and she was born with physical and mental disabilities. And the mom, and not to belittle it, it justifiably so. I know the concerns that the parents have for our children, but she said to me, she said, Bruce, I can't stop worrying about my daughter's future. I'm worried that when it's time for her to go to school, that school is going to be so hard for my little girl, and that I'm worried that friends are going to tease her or ostracize her. I'm worried that other moms are going to treat me differently because I have a special needs child. And so I got her to stop for a second and to take a deep breath. And I said, here's what I want you to do. I said, just close your eyes with me for a minute. Take a deep breath. Just relax. And I said, let's put yourself, I want you to imagine something. Let's go out a couple years to where your daughter is 5. So let's go 2 or 3 years out into the future. And your daughter is in kindergarten, and you're on a field trip with your daughter's school to a beautiful park. And the weather is gorgeous. It's not too terribly hot, it's not cold. The weather is perfect. Birds are chirping, the sun is shining, the grass is green, there are flowers in the flower beds. And maybe there's a lake in the park, or maybe there's a water fountain, but something very soothing. And I want you to watch your daughter. Your daughter is playing in the grass or playing on the swing sets with other kids, and other kids are pushing her as she swings back and forth, or she's wearing this pretty little dress and she's spinning around in circles and her dress is all flared out and she's laughing and giggling, and the other kids are doing the very same thing, and you're sitting there on a park bench with the other moms, and you're all watching your kids play, and they're laughing, and you're talking with the other moms, and you're sharing lunch or whatever it is. And so then we stopped, and she had her eyes closed, but I'm watching her on Skype, and her whole countenance just changed. And I said, were you able to imagine that? Were you able to play that movie? And she said, yeah, I really was. And I said, see, worrying about something is playing a movie in your head. The thing that you're worried about out in the future hasn't happened yet. And the likelihood of it happening is really no different than the likelihood of the movie we just played, of the beautiful park scene. You get to choose which movies you play in your head. You get to write the script that other people will play. And so if you're thinking about the future, why not think about a future that makes you feel good? You can indeed do it. Does it take practice? Yes. Do you have to catch yourself thinking the negative, worrisome thoughts? Yes, you do. But you can do this. It takes practice, but you can think any thought that you want to think. I love Dr. Seuss's book, Oh, the Thinks We Can Think. You are in control of your thoughts. Mind control is a good thing when you're controlling your own mind, not when you're trying to control someone else's mind, but you can indeed control your own thoughts. So catch yourself using phrases like, I can't stop thinking about, because you can. You just have to want to, and you have to use creative imagination that creates a beautiful future, rather than a negative imagination that creates anxiety and a dark, gloomy future that you don't want to have happen. Anyway, that's just a short segment from my book. You can learn more about it by going to worrynomorebook.com. And there's a little bit of information on that webpage. More is coming up right now. I want to read a quick email that I got from a gentleman named Aaron. Aaron wrote, Bruce, I recently found your podcast on iTunes. I recently turned 50 and am retired because of an eye condition. I used to work as an accountant. I miss my work sometimes. I love your podcast and I want to go back and listen to all of them. You have really encouraged me to look for a second career. Thanks a million. No, thank you, Aaron, because it's just me reminding you that your life is not over. If your heart is still beating, if you are listening to the sound of my voice, I love Richard Bach, the author of Jonathan Livingston Seagull, who said, here's a quick test to determine whether or not your purpose on earth has been fulfilled. If you're breathing, it hasn't been. So if you're breathing, if you're still listening to the sound of my voice, your life still has purpose. So that's the message for you today. You can control your thoughts. I love you. Thank you for going the distance with me. Life is a marathon, so let's train for it.